Was the night before Christmas, and all through the big facility on South Water Street, Arthur Smith was contorting himself into a chocolate-covered pretzel, attempting to explain why Pat Freiermuth does not get the football. Good afternoon to you. Good Monday afternoon. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is the new Double Shot Show. This is the last Double Shot Show before Christmas, meaning before the Chiefs come to town, because the NFL just takes over all holidays anymore. And on that occasion, it sure would be wonderful if the football team would recognize that it paid a gazillion dollars to its number one tight end, that it invested who knows how many hours and how many reps over the summer in throwing, not just throwing to Freiermuth as in like, here, stand there and we're going to fire it to you in the one spot. He was all over the place. He was left out routes, right out routes. He was going deep. He was doing everything. And then the season started, and then almost nothing happened involving him. I am tired of this topic. Maybe you are, of hearing it from me as well, but it's just so prominent, and especially in the light of losing back-to-back games and not utilizing this player. When George Pickens was out and you needed someone to pick up some of those catches, Smith's solution was to basically just get more guys involved, as if quantity could overcome the quality that was lost. This is nuts. This is you know what? This is what Smith had to say about it today on the South Side.
Yeah, whenever they started the target thing, it's just not a reality of how the game's played. I always say that. Because I think Pat, you can ask him this isn't just coach speak. You're the primary in a lot of things. Obviously, the coverage dictates a lot of, and then other things. If quarterback sees something and he likes a better matchup, that's where the ball goes. Pat, I think a little bit, which helped us in recent weeks. Pat's been pretty damn good in the red zone. Guys get the game plan. It's not like you're icing somebody out. It's just whether the ball finds them or not. You may be the primary, they may give you a different look. Something may break down. Guy gets off schedule. Well, you're not necessarily going to the primary target. I think Pat's had an excellent season.
No, listen, I'm sorry. I really like this guy. He's been terrific to deal with. I think he's been a good thing overall for the offense. But this can't continue like this. Freiermuth's got, in 15 games, 50 catches on 59 targets. Okay, regardless of what he thinks about targets doesn't mean who was the principal receiver when the play was drawn up. It means who actually had the ball thrown his way. He knows that. For 508 yards, Freiermuth has averaged 10.2 yards a catch. He's scored 6 touchdowns. He's had 7 what are known as big plays, and he's accounted for 26 first downs. More than half of his catches have resulted in first downs. What are you doing? What are you doing? In the spirit of the season, I'm saying this with a smile on my face, but it's not going ignored. Okay, not on the outside, and believe it or not, even though he said that, you can go ahead and ask Pat and whatever, not on the inside either. And it's not a Russell Wilson thing to try to say that it's just Russ. I'm sure some of it is Russ sees, for example, Connor Hayward comes back to the football on the right sideline. You might remember from the other day in Baltimore. Nice play by 83. Good stuff. Is he the primary target on that? No, I don't think so. Okay, that's what you want in all of your receivers and tight ends, whoever's out there. Michael Pruitt made a really nice touchdown catch. I'm not here to take any credit away from the guys who've made plays, but they're not your number one tight end, and they're not going to make a difference the way Freiermuth can over the course of a full game. I can't believe I'm still talking about this. I can't believe it's still a thing. But listen, if you want to know how this works, and I'm not going to compare Freiermuth to Taylor Swift's boyfriend, but Taylor Swift's boyfriend is going to make a ton of plays. And he's going to make a ton of plays in part because he's getting schemed open and because he is the primary target and because the plays are done in a way that gets him the football one way or the other. So, how about everybody unwraps a present on Wednesday morning and shows up at the stadium, at least those who aren't totally sloshed, and says, hey, look, we had a tight end all along. All we had to do was unwrap him. When we come back, I'm going to be joined by Chris Halleck.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Joined now by Chris Halleck. As promised, he's over on the south side inside the Steelers facility there. Can you angle the camera to show them the roof of that place?
I don't know if I can, but I tell you what.
I think we can see it there. It's incredible. It's made for punters.
Yeah, because
the punters hit it all the time. They hit it all the time.
Waitman hits it literally like I'd say 9 out of 10 punts.
It's absolutely crazy. Chris, when we're talking about this matchup, in large part because the Steelers have struggled offensively the last couple of weeks, we're focused on that side, but the defense really hasn't been any better, and now all they're doing is facing the best quarterback, I think, of this generation.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a huge matchup issue for this defense, as it is for a lot of defenses in the NFL, just because Patrick Mahomes he's such a unique quarterback, and it's not just because, he's the best quarterback. Well, he's the best quarterback because he can hit all the throws, and his mobility it's rare. Because he's not the fastest guy, but he's sneaky. He can get out of the pocket. He can move. And because defenses have to be aware of his ability to make throws outside the pocket, he gets these chunk runs sometimes that you just don't see a guy that with his kind of athleticism. People joke about his dad bod and everything like that. Well, guess what? He's able to get 20 yards here, 12 yards there because he's able to create himself space because of what he's able to do, and it's going to be a big time challenge for this defense.
See, I would joke about his dad too, except it's just because his dad pitched for the Pirates once. It's amazing how few people know that Pat Mahomes was a reliever for the Pirates, and it was in the PNC Park era too. Yeah. I marvel at Mahomes more than anything else. You mentioned it. There's arm talent, and then there's whatever it is that he has, because usually when we think of arm talent, is even in scouting terminology, we're talking about, can you heave the thing, right? Yeah. That's not him. He is. I mean, he can do that too.
Yeah.
It's just that you'll see a guy that doesn't look open.
Yeah.
And he's not open, and somehow that football ends up right in his hands. And if he's cutting across laterally, the timing is perfect. And as a defense, when you face a guy like that and he hits enough of those on you, it's demoralizing, and you can just feel it. You can feel that these guys just say, oh, come on, man, I did everything right, and they still moved it 15 yards. What am I doing here?
The thing that's demoralizing to me whenever I'm watching the Chiefs play, and I've watched a few of their games this year, is whenever they get to these third down situations. And it's literally like, if they make a stop here, if whoever they're playing makes a stop, they could possibly the game that they played in the most recent game against the Chargers, Chiefs got the ball at 4 minutes. Like, if the Chiefs go down, kick a field goal, it doesn't matter. Like, Justin Herbert can get the ball back. But like every third down, Mahomes made a way, just found a way to convert every single one of them. And the ones where he's getting flushed out of the pocket, you're like, oh, this is great. We're making him play out of the structure of the offense. It doesn't matter. He still finds Travis Kelce. He still finds somebody and makes a play, or he'll just tuck it and run and find a way to get it on the ground. He's literally he's the hardest quarterback to defend in this league because he has everything that you possibly want in a quarterback. It's going to have to be similar to the way they defend Joe Burrow, because Burrow has a very similar ability to keep his eyes downfield, but also move and evade pressure, unlike almost any other quarterback in the league. And Mahomes is great at it too.
I mean, if you think about it, this is if you looked at his throw chart from the most recent game, the one you cited against the Chargers, it's like bulbs on a Christmas tree. Okay, yeah. As long as we're at it, it's a little bit of everywhere, and that's because he can throw against the body. He can throw back. He can run to his right and throw back to the left, which they tell you, by the way, never ever to do as a quarterback at any level of football. Parents, don't let your kids throw the way Mahomes does, because you can't do it. Only one guy can do that consistently, and it's just an amazing trait to have. And he's an amazing athlete, and he also has an amazing comportment about him, Chris. The thing that strikes me the most, especially when you watch the Chiefs in these Super Bowls, and note the plural there, he's just having fun. He's out there. He's just a kid on a playground, and he's making playground plays.
Yeah,
it's incredible to watch.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I think he's one of the most fun quarterbacks, if not the most fun quarterback to watch, because he can make literally every single play. He can play within the 3-step drop plays or 5-step drop, play within the structure of the offense, make the throws from the pocket, but then he can make all the plays, outside the pocket too. And then, like I've said, he can also get some stuff on the ground if he needs to. It's just because he literally can do everything. And the way Terrell Austin put it whenever he spoke to reporters today was, he's in complete control of the offense. And when a quarterback is able to do that, when they are literally in complete control, and doesn't mean that they're like dictating here and there, but he has a great feel for what every single person is doing, for what his offensive line is doing whenever he drops back, for what his receivers are doing, what his tight ends are doing when they're running their routes, keeping his eyes downfield when he moves and seeing how they move. Complete control. That's what a Terrell Austin's meaning. And again, it's going to be one of the reasons why, hey, if you're going to try to get to the Super Bowl, if that's what the aspirations are for this team, you have to beat this team and you have to beat this guy.
And who's going to do that? Who's going to do that, Chris?
It's going to be a whole.
I mean, really, because who do you put on Kelsey? Who do you put on Travis Kelce? What do you do there? We can say, oh, well, that's going to be so-and-so, because a zone thing, or depending on where he runs or whatever, which it likely might turn out being. But a weapon like Kelce, when he's paired with Mahomes, they can beat you all by themselves. And we know that because they've beaten everybody all by themselves for quite some time now. How do you defend that? What do you do? Do you just tell Patrick Queen, hey, go get him? Do you chip him? Do you do, some kind of gimmick thing? What do you do?
The best thing that they can do, and it's ultimately going to start with the pass rush. They're going to have to find a way to have, I would analyze it as a Joe Burrow approach. You have to try to keep him inside the pocket, because whenever he gets outside the pocket, that's whenever Mahomes and Kelce are at their most dangerous, because Kelce, and they're both on the same page and have been for a long time.
And he'll find space. He will find space.
The way that we saw Russell Wilson and Pat Freiermuth work together like that in the Cincinnati game, they made it look easy because, well, good quarterback, good tight end, but also a really crummy defense too. But the Mahomes and Kelce do that against everybody, and it's because they are as in sync as a quarterback and tight end can be. So it's going to start with actually keeping Mahomes in the pocket, not letting him step up, but also not letting him get outside either. It's going to be a Herculean task, that's for sure.
I got some names to read here to you, Mr. Halleck. And this is our last episode before Christmas. So this is going to be my fun Christmas gift to you here. You ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to read these names to you, and you're going to at least pretend you don't know where I'm heading with this. You ready?
All right.
Myles Garrett, Mitch Trubisky, Solomon Thomas, Leonard Fournette, Corey Davis, Jamal Adams, Mike Williams, Christian McCaffrey, somebody named John Ross to the Bengals, and guess who went 10th overall to the Chiefs in 2017? Never take draft prognostications seriously. Never take the draft seriously or excessively seriously. There are 9 teams. The one right before the Chiefs being inside the division, Bengals, who could have had this quarterback. Now, the Bengals ended up, obviously, with a pretty nice quarterback of their own, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But not this guy.
Yeah.
Not this guy. And Trubisky going second overall. There's inexact science, and then there's this, and we're going to spend months hyping up this draft and all this. Oh, how? And then when the draft happens, that's the funniest part, Chris, because we all do this. Mm-hmm. Oh, how did they not take so-and-so? How did they? Oh, I mean, you just have no idea. For this player to go 10th overall is unbelievable.
Yeah, as soon as you said Mitch Trubisky, and
I know,
especially
you figured it out.
Yeah, I figured it out. I was like, Mitch Trubisky second. I was like, oh, that's that draft. Yeah, it's just one of those things, man, and it's one of those things where, like, when the Steelers, if and when they have to draft another quarterback again, you can't. Yeah, we could open up a whole other can of worms and be like, why did they draft Kenny Pickett? But you understand, like, you have to take the shot. If you have a first-round talent, you almost have to take the shot, and you also need to have better scouting than the Cleveland Browns do, because they've taken shot after shot and still not gotten it right.
Yeah, or the Bears, for that matter. When we come back, J1Q.
Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different. Help prevent gun accidents, misuse, and theft. Keep firearms safe and secure when not in use. For safe storage options, visit projectchildsafe.org.
Time now for our last J1Q before the holiday, and for that, we take our talents way down to South Beach.
What's up, DK Rob from Miami? I got to call out the Yinzers. I got to call out Steeler Nation. I understand we're on a 2-game losing streak, but as an athlete, we work really hard and we have a lot of confidence in ourselves. But still, we need you guys. I get it. I'm upset too. I didn't even watch the game. I haven't even watched any highlights. But we need to give them the energy. Let's not wait till Wednesday. We need that right now. Let's not wait. I understand you're upset. It's okay. But let's be upset and let's be together. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get this done.
He's driving. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Make it back to us in one piece, Robert. We need you. I'm glad you brought that up, though. I am. Even if you're putting your life at risk there. Because it's a really good point. I deal with these players on a regular basis, and they'll all tell you, we're blocking out the noise. We're blocking it all out. We don't hear what's on the outside. They're lying. They're lying. They're not doing it in a malicious way. They're doing it in a defensive way. They don't want to think that the people who are supporting them, their most passionate fans, whether that's here in Pittsburgh or anywhere around the world, or on some random highway in South Florida, they want to think that everybody's behind them. They want to think that everybody's looking forward to the Christmas game against the Chiefs, that they're not doing things like, and I'm seeing, hearing, and reading a lot of this now, they're just going to lose out. It's all over. They're going to lose every game they play. They're going to lose against the Bengals, and it's going to be one and done in the playoffs like usual and everything else. And people are saying this as if they're almost hoping for it, so that they can show they were right, whether it's about the Steelers in general or whether it's just about Mike Tomlin. Or I don't get that. I don't get that. Sports are supposed to be fun, and I don't see how rooting for your team to lose or being somehow satisfied even with your team losing is an okay thing. These players, to go back to Rob's point, and I got to hurry before he wraps himself around a telephone pole somewhere, they see themselves as representing you, okay? That's the reason they'll come over and sign after practices in Latrobe. That's the reason they'll come over and pose for pictures during warm-ups or even after a win at Acrisure Stadium. They're in this with you, and they see you in this with them. I hear this expressed beautifully on a regular basis from TJ Watt, who says all the time that the team and the crowd, especially at Acrisure, are like one entity. And you'll see he's the one that's always turning around and trying to get the crowd into it because he believes that it's part of the game. Now, there's a massive difference between what you see, hear, and read on social and what's in the stadium. What's in the stadium, they need that. They need that. I appreciate you, Rob. I appreciate everybody checking out the new Double Shot show. And listen, hey, Merry Christmas. We'll be back with another one of these on Thursday.